Hello! How's it, buddy? We have a Saturday stream because we are right at the end of our final day of episode 5, which is the end of the first Ace Attorney game. I did a sneak peek and I noticed that people on average seem to take about 3 hours though to finish this last day. So, whoo! Got 3 more hours ahead of us. Hopefully my voice will hold out because I want to get this finished. Alright. Defendant lobby. This is the defendant lobby, alright. But there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lena all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Ah, that was Edgeworth. Edgeworth! Nice. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. Nicest. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lena's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. Ooh! Phoenix. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Ganta has on her, it's now. Alright. Courtroom, and sure enough, it doesn't look like anybody's next to us. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lena Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Morning, folks. How's everybody doing? Hey, G, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is at my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lena, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. I don't know how to feel about this. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lena! I like how it shows her hand behind her back. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lena! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Yes, Edge. Woo. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With a sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. Wow. Rude. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lena's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer, Joe Dark, of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave in fast. Now, Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Bum, bum, bum. 2 years ago, I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. In the chest. Not in the back. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? Fog, thank you for the resub. How's it going? 28 months and a moo. Oh, Fog. Okay, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Apparently, I'm subbed her, but I have no idea who this streamer be. The one you use the emote for, or or do you mean me? It has been a minute. I haven't gotten to see you as much. I appreciate your continued support, though, Fug. This stream right here, yeah, you are a stranger. Yep. I mean, definitely never had a scarf made for you or anything. Nope. Don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. Yeah, nope, no idea. Okay, no evidence. Yep. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. 2 years ago. Okay. Should I push anything or should I go straight to the fact that she says in the chest? I don't know. Right now you need wool socks. If you've been freezing evenings in a row, oh man. You say you guys should go straight to talking about the chest part, sis? But then we don't get to learn as much. Hold it! 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was a second in command under the deputy chief of police, Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Scott used to be quite the pair. Luckily you have wool socks. Finnish friend from France made me 2 pair. Wow, now I need a pair. I think I have maybe like 1 or 2 pairs maybe. I think I have at least 1 pair. I bought a pair for myself at Christmas, I think. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. And the organ was there even then? I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lena promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. Okay. Man came running in. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Okay. Marshall rescued her. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. I almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Sorry, my brain got distracted by the, the music. Even though I've heard this a bajillion times by now. Okay, anyways. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then. But... Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right. But just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. Excuse me. Oh. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. You told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture. Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning.
Objection!
But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, so she drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Zoom! No, I'm just kidding. Enhance! Aha! It was not lost. We have it. Picture is drawn on the back of the evidence list in magic marker. Got a very bad feeling about this. We have it.
Objection!
Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Turn it... Ah! What is this? Sideways. Yes, what is that? Hey! That's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here.
Objection!
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have the access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. The marks where they're torn how? Like, were they stapled together? Or what? These are two whole pieces of paper. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence list in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order! But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. Your hip is driving you crazy. I mean, I thought you were already crazy, Fog, but I'm sorry it's making you more crazy. Hope it'll stop driving you soon. I'm sorry, that was terrible. Shall we just cut off your hip and be done? I think cutting it off would be a lot quicker than scratching it off. That sounds terrible. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Was it... Seriously? Okay, they really were torn apart? Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? That face. Sorry, Your Honor. Same, but yours hurts. Itchy and red swelling in different parts. I'll wait for a day or two and pop somewhere else. Huh. Doc suspects sudden allergy and your blood's being tested Tuesday and Wednesday night. Your face looked like it was stung by a... Wow. By on steroids. Wow. Especially Wednesday was bad. Almost called the ER. Oh man, take care of yourself, Fog. Well, hello there. Sab with a B. Yes, that is me. I am the Sab peer pressure person. I will get you into Sab. It will happen. I just thought that was hilarious that that was the title of the person that you rated. That was pretty great. Alright. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something on the back of my list. Is that thing? What? I thought he just made that though. What? That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Oh no. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Wait. So what does this look like now? What? So I guess that's supposed to be like the top of the area around the window then. Interesting. I was really hoping there'd be something else helpful in this, but nope. Had an appointment with your doc already. Since it started with your hands and feet swelling up in order. Just thought it might be retaining water or is lymphatic. But now the swellings are red and itchy and warm also. Huh. Each face swelling went away in about 12 hours. Calling sick for most of the week. Couldn't sleep with a swollen face and was mental and physical wreck. Oh man, Fog. Hugs. Hugs across the pond. I send you all the hugs. Oh man. So you've been dealing with unfun swelling and stuff, and Seraph has also been dealing with stuff where like his hands, feet, and like tongue are all affected. I feel really terrible for y'all, both of you. Please don't pass it on. The rest of us don't want it. That doesn't sound fun at all. I hope you feel better ASAP. Finish the new Kining map. Have a second function to streaming right now. Keeping me company as I clean this pigsty. Wow, you got a pigsty? Shame on you, Lim. I was glad your tongue wasn't affected. The reason you couldn't sleep was monitoring to make sure the swelling wasn't going. Yeah, that is important. Yeah. For Seraph, I think it's just, I don't know if it's so much swelling as it is painful, apparently. So, yeah, when you're done, want to come help clean this pigsty too? No, I'm just kidding. The things aren't too bad in here, but I actually need to clean up my boxes from my computer parts that I got. I haven't cleaned all that up yet. I need to do that. All right, back to the game, kind of. Yeah, that would be quite the commute, yeah. Fog's even further away. The one on your hip and the ones on your arm are... Was it painful, you mean? Or were you filling in with a second comment? I can't tell. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, Your Honor. Or yes, sir, Your Honor, rather. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Emma's picture. Yeah, Fog. They've changed a lot of stuff in the... I mean, you said play through the 1.5. Now there's the 1.6, so there's even more that they've changed and added. But hey, they're now supporting multiplayer, even more than 4 players now, up to 8. So that actually sounds... I want to do some of that. I have other things I need to get done, but maybe I'll find time for some Stardew later today. I've been wanting to pretty much all week. Because the camera doesn't pick up the whole room, right? I mean... If I, yeah, I can see, like, box there. But that's why we just don't turn. We just hide it. Oh, yeah, you're playing on the Switch. Okay, yeah, I hadn't considered when the Switch one happened, or was gonna happen. I hadn't thought about that. Just itchy. One hip is especially annoying. Oh yeah, that is annoying. That's what happened with me with chickenpox. Had a chickenpox spot that got rubbed by the band. Pulling them up to your belly button. Meant your room. I know. I knew you meant your room. I was just saying, like, same. Alright, it was picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Did I miss my opportunity?
Hold it!
Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lena Skye. 2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? Sympathize with you. Really annoying spot. Sadly, it's not. Yeah, that's not acceptable. Yeah, I mean you could do that in your home, but glasses plus long hair, Emma equals trio. Didn't you know I'm in this video game? That's why we're playing it. I may or may not have been using her as a reference to try and make a piece of art slash emote. Anyways. Why is it all painted black? The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows.
Hold it!
Okay. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. You're the one who always makes those jokes, don't you? Wow me. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? Okay. She must have fainted. I don't know if there's any reason to press this, but we'll see. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No. I'm sorry.
Objection!
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. You really need to torture this girl any further. What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
Hold it!
Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course. This is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in in any way from your talks with the detectives.
Objection!
Are you insinuating that we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I better watch out, or you might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, if there's something that's bothering you about this picture. Yes, there is. Huh? Oh, well. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Okay. Exactly what she saw.
Objection!
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, Perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Take that!
I think it's, this part here? No, oh, come on. I don't see what's so strange about that. That's because the drawing stinks. Mr. Wright, how could you? The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty. I guess he means I shouldn't shift the blame to others. Yes, well, so long as the defense has learned his lesson. Why? But the hand was in front. What? Are you trying to say that the hand was like up behind his back as he was being stabbed? What? For the boy made a point at the knife? I mean, it does look like a... It definitely doesn't look like a knife here. It's the part of the shield, the trophy. It was very rectangular looking. Is that what they wanted me to point out? But he's facing forward. It's so obvious. Why? Think I might play some willed gars. Have fun fog. I did a little earlier myself. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
If you mean like the new Soto story stuff, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I've played, I'm caught up on the new stuff. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? Also, I'm near, I just need to wait until reset, and then I can finish the Ascended backpack way back from Draconis Mons. I've been working on that lately. Okay, where's the problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Objection!
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. What does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
Objection!
That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Objection!
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. It's one POI you can't get to. It says only cryptists can enter. No. Event related. Yeah. I am 99% positive I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure there's either way, there's for sure an event that'll let you get in. I'm trying to think if there might be 2 different events. Because I think I've been in for 2 different reasons. But yeah, there's at least an event that'll get you in there. Yeah. And thankfully the meta happens fairly often, so if you're on for a little while, you should be able to catch it. No problemo, Fog. Alright, you can't deny the possibility. No! Ah! Order! 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 Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being 2 broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright! In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Ba-bum-ba. No. I don't know whether to point at that or to point at the picture. Are they gonna get mad if I point at the picture and be like, that's not a weapon? I guess I'm just gonna present the trophy.
Take that!
If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. But may I remind you that the fate of Miss Lena Sky hangs in the balance. Nope, I need to point at the picture. Sorry, Your Honor. Please give me another chance. Yeah.
Take that!
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. See, this is the annoying thing, though. We had in the court record about the halberd being removed. So why couldn't we have just said it was the trophy, but the halberd part of the trophy that was no longer included? They're so nitpicky sometimes. And I'm like, ugh. It annoys me. Alright, 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This picture is of the award ceremony. Oh, that's Edgeworth, sorry. This picture's of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. Bum, bum, bum. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. That's why you like the Professor Wright, or Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton story? Why? Because they're not as nitpicky? Is that what you mean? Or because they fill it when you get close? Order, order, order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
Objection!
But that can't be. Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! Now we're going to. These puzzles and the detective thing. As I was cleaning, I realized how out of tune the Banjoline. I don't even know how to say that properly. Was. No, I'm on a kazoo YouTube remo. that sounds like the whole. I suppose it's often associated with ADHD. The getting distracted, you're cleaning. Oh look. For me, it's like reminiscing or like, oh, here's this thing. Let me. Oh look, I found this notebook. Let me start. Oh, I wrote that. Oh, and getting distracted from the main purpose. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? Is the death all an accident after all? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now! I remember everything! Witness? Mr. Edgeworth! What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? And here we are, get $15 kazoos. Or Amazon. Yeah, lol, yep. I knew it! This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. She saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. I could have told you that. Yes, well, something about cross-examination. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further. Lena! What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Bum, bum, bum. Okay.
Hold it!
When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you panicked and rushed towards the
Hold it!
Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person.
Hold it!
What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Okay.
Hold it!
You saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. He also looks sideways, though, compared to the other. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before, somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? Dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
Hold it!
His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with his winning smile at all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
Objection!
This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken.
Objection!
That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Alright, we're gonna take a second. Could it have been the jar? The 2 side things would work, but it would have had to have like something on top, right? I don't think we have anything else. Bum, 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 bum. It still wouldn't be quite the right shape, though. Is there anything in that picture otherwise? Can't see the suit of armor clearly, but I don't think it was the suit of armor. But there is blood on the vase. It just doesn't quite work. I'm not sure if we have anything that would... That still doesn't look like the right shape either. Important is that she thought she did. Okay. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger really? I don't know other than the vase. I mean, it sounds like Gant is probably going to fall here. Ugh. Do I say I'm not sure, or do I try and guess at it? It just doesn't quite look like the right shape. Wow, wow, do you too, Sarah? Oh no, ad break. Okay, we're coming back in a minute, I guess. Alrighty, welcome back. We have a fun recap of chat. What? Kazoo with an electric pickup? What? This is less observed chat in its natural habitat. In the wild chatlands of Eltrio, once Ace Attorney saga, a curious fog flutters in with queries about mysterious new content and elusive points of interest. The flock chirps in agreement over the charm of puzzle solving in Phoenix Wright tales, while a bad gamer elite embarks on a musical migration from Banjalil, I don't know, to Kazoo territory on YouTube. Seraph of Evil observes with a simple wow wow in this natural habitat of digital detectives and musical musings. Plug a kazoo into an amp? That sounds scary. Alright. Let's see if we can figure this out. The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright. We're claiming it's in this room, okay. In this room. Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger lookalike. The vase is the only thing I can think of. Perhaps it was like the angle of it when it was thrown? But the mysterious blue badger was in fact this. I mean, it was hidden, so that makes it seem likely as well. But that's, what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But, Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed, it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh boy. Wait, what are we rotating? Oh. Oh, okay. Oh man, this is complicated. Alright, nope, doesn't. That's upside down that way. Ah! That's pretty close. Will it count that, or do I have to get it? It was the bottom of the vase. Okay. Is that good enough? Are they gonna yell at me if I don't have it precise? What? What? What do you mean? This is where I've got to make it look more like the badger. Allow me to remind the defense this case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, we can't accept his claim. Just the right angle. Oh boy. Come on, Mr. Wright, you can do it. Yeah. Arg. Is it more that way? No. Blarg. Was I that far off? Yeah, that doesn't curve right. It has to be that way. Are they just that finicky about it? How far off was I? Is that close enough?
I'd say try to match the back angle with the
what angle?
like the triangle of the top. Make it look like a triangle. You were right.
I thought I had tried to match the triangle earlier.
You had. I just think it was too shallow.
But I figured if I tilted it too far down, it was going to get cranky because then there's holes in the handle areas. But maybe not. I don't know. Erg. It's so finicky. I don't even remember what I presented the first time anymore. Is that close enough? Sent you something to watch later. Okay. Is it the kazoo with an amp? Sarah over here all smug. Bum, 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 bim, 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 bim. Is that good enough? I'm gonna take a screenshot, and if no. It's funny. I'm obviously on the right track because it hasn't even docked me. But why? Why are they so mean about it? There, it's like that. Is it this way? That doesn't make sense. And that top's too big. Blarg. I'm just gonna present it like that. Sorry, I had to. I had to try. Oh, this stupid magic thing. Oh no, you don't. Yeah, you don't hear the annoying sound that I hear. Up, there we go. Like that? Ah!
Objection!
This is gonna drive me nuts. It's worse that I know that I'm like right there, but it's just so finicky. Why?
Take that! Objection!
This is dumb. Wow, there's a Reddit post. Anyone else want to punch a hole in the wall while trying to solve that jar blue badger puzzle? Yes. This is annoying. Does no one have like an easy way to just get it the way they want it? Because this is dumb. Yes. This is just so annoying. So annoying. I've had it like basically right a bajillion times. It just don't have it exactly the way they want it. Ah! Dummy. I thought I tried to do a more shallower view at one point, but it just apparently I was just one end or the other, just too far off. We'll just cut out all that and... Oh, look! Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No! It can't be! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this.
Objection!
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Well, very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar at a very, that's at a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant.
Objection!
But the body was found lying near Lena Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself.
Objection!
Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lena Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office.
Objection!
Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lena Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lena tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah! The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Unfortunate. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. Oof. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Oh, poor Emma. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? Returneth, I hateth? What? What? Hate what? What are you hating upon? What? What's the matter? The defense took place. The defense theorizes. Then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. That's rather unfortunate. Poor Emma. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Oh, hateth as haveth. Did she faint again? I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? I Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence from 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. I hope you if you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove with this evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. Oh no, I know I do, sis, I know. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. Real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. I mean, there was the thingy here. I don't know. Could have been trying to write a message there. We also have the leather, but that wouldn't have been a message. So do we show that, or do we show the base? I feel like the base. But then again... I've already taken 2 hits. One of them for ridiculousness. Maybe they both were there. I can't remember anymore. I mean, as far as him leaving a message, it seems like something was here.
Take that!
This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he just going to speak the killer's name? That thing could. I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines? Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. one that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed direction. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. Got to connect these dots to make letters. Oh boy. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. I mean, that very much looks like either. I have to connect that? No. Gonna sloop. Alright. Sleep well, Fog.
Take that!
Kind of slot him if you don't, could have written it a little clearer. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully the swelling of the hip goes away if it returns on a less annoying spot like someone else. I think I said earlier that you don't pass it on to anybody else, but it goes away. That's the hope. Don't pass it on. I do hope you feel better, Fog. Take care, get some rest. Hope you're able to get some sleep. Take care of yourself. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lena. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Bum, bum, bum. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Heck? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Says the guy who seems to have helped plan the whole cover-up. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction.
Objection!
But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Yikes. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Blah, blah, blah. And they're up at arms. It'll all be solved. Edgy can come work for the bad guys. Prove people innocent. It's fine. Can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 Chaos. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Bam, bam. Man, is it really that long still till our next ad? After the whole vase thing, it feels like it's been ages. jar, I suppose they called it. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Oof. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty. I'm getting flashbacks here. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lane is having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. As a detective duck on front? What? Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. There you go, right there. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him? Guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. From this guy explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out that she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lena didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. It's been pretty bad that... How many of these episodes or whatever have we dealt with corruption? It feels like a majority. It's not all of them, but it definitely feels like a majority. Okay, time to bring it to an end. Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-doo-boo. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lena Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, This is anime drama more than law, but still entertaining. Normally, this is where a prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness? Or witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? There's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Oh boy. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright. You do realize this is your last chance? If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Okay, so they want me to call who the real murderer is? It's Angel. No, I'm just kidding. Also, that's hilarious. I kind of want to know what happens if you try and call Goodman. Oh, man.
Take that!
Definitely Meekins. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Here, twirl. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lena's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. After watching 8 billion videos, I think I stopped myself from an impulse buy of a kazoo. It's probably for the best. Lim, the next instrument you need to get, if you don't have one, is the, what's it called? It looks like a music note and it has like a mouth. That's the next one you need. That's the next one you need. What's the name of that one? It's gonna drive me crazy. Does John remember? I can't think. Just added that to my wish. Did you really? Because I didn't even say the proper name of it. What is that? Automaton. Yeah, automaton. Yeah. You need an automaton. Alright, anyways. I think... I have looked at them several times and thought, maybe I should get one of these. And then I'm like, nah, I'd probably just annoy people with it. It's probably what would happen. See, not too bad. Yeah, I think they They're somewhere like 30 to 50, yeah. As far as I know, I don't think there's any like really expensive ones, but I don't know that for sure. But anywho's, there are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. After the Honkai payout, don't be surprised. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. Actually, before he does, I never actually looked at this. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department, and unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. So they did repeat at the time the important part, which is approval of the police department. Okay. Just wanted to be sure. There wasn't any other info there. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lena there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Okay, kept that pretty brief. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. But the police chief has the right to refuse to testify. And I better hit him hard and fast. Does that mean we can't poke everything he says? Not that he said much. How did you slip up? So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that! The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. Man, Gant! Dude! That's terrible. Okay. Computer skeptic. That's not funny. Lena there. They already arranged the crime scene. Do I present the thingy there, or do I press him first? No. What did she say she did? I mean, she was in too much shock, so She wouldn't have arranged it though.
She saw him.
Yeah, she saw Emma grabbed her. Yeah, she grabbed her and just held her.
Hold it!
How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lena's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, I don't have any way to... I don't have any recording of her saying that though. So I can't say that that contradicts her testimony. So I don't think I can do anything about that.
I guess not.
I think I'm just gonna
Objection!
The witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. No! Sorry, but I can see nothing's faulty. Must be on the wrong track. No!
Hold it!
So you're saying the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lena must have felt. Removing a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lena did admit to forging evidence. That can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Do I have something else? Oh. What am I who am I kidding? He hid evidence. Why wasn't I thinking about that? Found in Chief Gant safe. Does this also mention it? Found in Chief Gant safe. Yeah.
Objection!
Yeah, I was jumping straight to the, like, he had to okay the knife, but I wasn't even thinking about the stuff he hid. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Happy. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you are the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
Objection!
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, he'll receive his due punishment. What? What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see. What was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark were convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Udgy, in return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys telepathic? Can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What have I got? I can't flip it over? I wish they would have let me see the evidence listed. Man, we have so much evidence, it's ridiculous.
Hold it!
How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see?
Hold it!
Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced.
Objection!
Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Raito. Think about it.
Hold it!
I would have we have. I'd appreciate if you stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Raito's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. Grr. Never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Slimy indeed.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
Objection!
If concealing evidence found in a at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Raito. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Pushed him on that, didn't we? Pressed him on that. Pressed him on that. He's the one who murdered Prosecutor Marcia 2 years ago. Yet I know he played Prosecutor. It only means someone asked him to be an accomplice. Damon Gant. Someone's accomplice. That sounds unlikely. What do I have? Evidence for something, but what? Where's MS Guy's prints? Larga. I don't want to take more hits. Were they on the evidence list that I can't read? I may take a hit.
Objection!
Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Nope, that didn't work. No, ad. Alright. Will BRB. For the wait. I took a bio break and refreshed my water. Back now, though. Did I press every single one of these? I kind of wish there was like a... You've already pressed this icon or something. I did press it, everything, right? Did I press the rearranging? Because that's where he mentioned the... Well, I was gonna say that's where he mentioned the suit of armor, right?
Hold it!
Not that one? Or maybe not? Really? Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one large benefit you've reaped from all of this. Oh, okay, no, I must not have pressed that. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. So I just realized I didn't check what our trivia was. Which American state would you find both the Merrill Collective and the Burke Museum of Fine Arts? They're both in Texas. Okay, yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! Be careful when pointing fingers. When pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Hold it!
Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lena's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone else out? I mean, he had to have. But would it be Lena or Emma? Or is it just a no? Everybody talked about how he and Lena were a pair. We also covered before that him having somebody in the prosecutor's office would make things easy. Would that have then been his goal? Helping himself by getting her there? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge the evidence? She's only 29? She's ready to... Oops. Prosecutor Lena Sky, the defendant. I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lena? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lena if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lena Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, dude. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet, as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lena Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Was it Angel who talked about that earlier? Or was it Marshall? I feel like it was Angel. I was gonna say, I've slept since then, so I remembered it vaguely, but it didn't remember it until, I guess, the break or something. Then I was like, oh yeah. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this, that I controlled Lena? For example, is Lena testifying that I've done such a thing? Lena? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid, without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. I like how they're showing Angel, like, detaining her, I guess. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lena take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! Impossible, well, impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in an easier to understand language. Edgy. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Have the IDs.
Take that!
This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gann's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Man. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. Also, Gant always wears the clothes, it seems.
Objection!
You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lena Sky's guilt.
Objection!
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
Take that!
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to. Yes, to transfer the evidence out. The trial of truth continues. I'm not on trial. Okay, yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. It is a catchy title, yeah. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait. The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Objection!
Sorry, but that's not possible. according to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! I was too slow to get a screenshot of that. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lena at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course.
Objection!
You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. Prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lena stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you! Take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we needed to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was a useless clue, just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. I'm going too far over there. Or not. Famed it.
Take that!
This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Bum, bum, bum. I like how Edgeworth seems to have totally forgotten the body was in his trunk. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean, The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice. Miss Lena Skye. Order, order, order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal in the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special.
Objection!
I'm trying to run away now. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Blah, 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 blah. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Objection!
So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lena dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Guy dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? Do I? We showed the ID card thingy. Brain. Showed the ID, we showed the lost item report. Blarg. What do we have? Don't think we actually can say that he did for sure. I think it's only the recording of the message from Lena to... Apparently that doesn't do anything. That's not what we wanted, Phoenix. I think this is just the call between the sisters. Yeah, it's the last person. Yeah. So, no, I don't think we have concrete proof. No use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. Humph. See, Aji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What?
Objection!
Saved? Are we saved? Are we saved? Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness, who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. We can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Angel. Just kidding. I mean, Elena's the one who knows the truth of everything. Defendant, Miss Lena Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on! Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lena. He's talking to Lena. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. It was an accident. Ah, this isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right, then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Well, then. Okay, if there are any further objections, this court is now in recess. Recess, school is out. Oh boy. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That wasn't obvious blackmail, right? And right in front of everybody in court. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Ah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office! Teammates. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? Not fair, he has the right to refuse to testify. Humph. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But Chief, it's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh, it was her. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as the chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lena tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Oh boy. To be continued. Alright, save. It says approximately an hour and 10-ish minutes is what people seem to take for the final bit. Based on our ad time, I think let's go ahead, take the ad break while we're in between, so we don't, hopefully shouldn't get interrupted in the middle of things. Assuming I don't take too long figuring things out for the last bit. Hopefully. It'll be a cakewalk, right? We just need Lena to tell the truth on everything, and easy peasy. Chief Gant squeezy. No, I'm just kidding. So let's go ahead and take the ad break now, and that way we'll hopefully have an uninterrupted last section. So I'll see you guys back here. Alrighty, looks like we're back. Give a newscast update from El Trio 1's courtroom. The trial saga of El Trio 1 marches on, with Rage Phoenix noting the catchy yet relentless nature of the case. Meanwhile, Sir Cactus Pet raises an eyebrow at the not-so-subtle art of blackmail within the game. Will justice prevail? Stay tuned as our ace attorney delves deeper into the mystery. These are pretty funny when it decides to do those. Alrighty. Back to it. Oh, I already saved. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Back in we go. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lena Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lena Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I have done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lena, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Tell us the truth. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Wrong. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lena! If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. And in the fabrication.
Hold it!
But think about it, Miss Skye. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And fabricated the evidence.
Hold it!
Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty rough. Save your sister's life and then only to have it ruined. But at the same time, at least she's not dead. What she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lena. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago?
Hold it!
You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The Broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. It's funny because they're still showing the wrong knife. What? She doesn't have the facts right. But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. It's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Drake? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. Well, just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. Wow. Broke off the tip and planted it inside.
Hold it!
You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Mr. Wright, my sister is lying. It's like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it all alone. It didn't say all of it. Saved it. I've got to get Lena to talk to her. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Jar, shower, 32. Can we also ask about knife person?
Hold it!
Yeah, we've covered this. Okay. Yeah, we could ask the other one now. But why did you do that? Come now, Mr. Wright, even you should be able to figure it out. Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason Miss Guy fabricated the knife. I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. We now have all those parts now?
Hold it!
According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound? Yes. Because I hated Dark for what he did. So that doesn't change.
Hold it!
So you rearranged the crime scene. You sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as the prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister is lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you. No way she could have done it alone. Gotta get her to tell me more. Okay. I mean, I guess I could have pressed this one, but I didn't see as much
Hold it!
that one. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why... Oh, that was the last statement. For some reason I didn't think it was. Maybe it did. Yeah, I think it did. So,
Hold it!
and go back to the jar one. Yeah. Back to the body thing. Okay, so then she changes her testimony. Pieces of the jar that shattered during my jar. You mean... Yes, the wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have broken during their struggle. Yep, she's got the story all wrong. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently, the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there is more to it than that. Must be a contradiction here somewhere. Will it count since her name's written on it?
Objection!
Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring everyone's attention to a significant contradiction within your testimony. Contradiction? In my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Ah. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we are headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Just tell us the truth. Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room, and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. Aha. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Hold it!
So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. Not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You are an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark and she didn't have time.
Hold it!
So you didn't know your name your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lena, you do that for me? Don't be happy you're trying to get your sister out of trouble because she's been covering for you for years. Seems you two might make up yet. Wow. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking.
Hold it!
I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dart killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lena, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Actually, she said she got them all, but then why was one missing?
Hold it!
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a body of emergency luminol wherever I go. Oh, and I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
Hold it!
So you illegally rearranged the crime scene? Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lena. I didn't know. I treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. There's a fragment missing, so apparently she didn't get all the pieces. But are they gonna get mad at me if I present that? Oh.
Objection!
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
Objection!
I'm afraid that's unlikely. Pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, rather. But everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first...
Objection!
Why break the jar, I think it said. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lena Skye believed her sister, Emma, killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark. Sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. No! I did it on my own! Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer any more for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if... we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lena may be right after all. What do you mean, what do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything about, like, you're under oath. You're not supposed to be lying. Actual crime scene. Whew. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Aha. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? Is it in the book? She didn't give us anything else, did she? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lena must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lena. Lena said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. That was the only thing we were given. Bum, bum, bum. Hey, there's a picture here. There's also a piece of cloth missing from his jacket. Oh my! This is the actual crime scene. No other detectives saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. And this picture inserted in the court record. Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? No. Because that piece of cloth isn't bloody. Also, it's not the same shape cut out at all. It's not the same shape, and it doesn't have blood on it. Also, that still means that someone would have been there beforehand to cut off the piece of fabric before she found the seam like that. So there's still missing stuff here. This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth. It had fingerprints on it. Whose ever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. What? Those fingerprints? They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let us get on with the cross-examination. Sir, me up. So as long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. What to point out where, though? Alrighty then. Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse of a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Now you'd like to talk, huh? I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back and relax, and enjoy the sound of a noose tightening around your own neck. Ah, so what? Do you think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? You're continuing to have to make statements right now, you know. The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Wrighto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? Nope, we don't. That's not the right piece. If I show that piece of evidence now, it is sure to be made out as the murderer. It's not that. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Mark? It's not. No. It's not the same. That very clearly has a curve. It very clearly has a curve. And this is a square. Maybe a slightly wonky square, but it's a square. It is not a curve. And it does not have any blood on it. And he's got blood all over him. It's not it. It's not evidence. Can't do it. No. Not tricking me. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant! You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? Yeah, I do know the truth. It's not that piece of cloth. You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It would be totally different if it was like the left side where there's almost no blood and you actually cut a square, but you didn't. It looks like, or this is the judge, okay. It looks like a part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Yeah. Could have gotten an auto game over there. Yeah, see, I said not tricking me. I said not tricking me. You're not getting me. It's not the same. Sometimes I'm not observant enough, and then other times I'm observant. It's not the same shape. It didn't have blood. It's not it. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. Oh. Yeah. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lena. So he's admitting to that? So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lena. I made it look like the blame lay with her sister. That when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted, Miss Guy. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with this crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lena arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. Says the guy who's like, oh, let me just make my safe 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. I actually didn't count my 7s that time. I think I said the right number though. I would be the first one to get the number of 7s wrong though in this. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Elena To go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
Objection!
But if you fabricated all the evidence, say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too. Oh, ho, ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come now, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant. That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do all that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as the murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then, before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. I mean, they all know it exists now. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. That's not what it is. Can I present the picture instead? Oh, they want to see the cloth, don't they? But it's not Emma.
Take that!
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes! At last, you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. It must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean? It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. No. Calm down. Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto, all this time, had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? It's not her. She's not the murderer. Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. You predicted this on. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Angel. Just kidding.
Take that!
Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along. You still tried to pin the murder on me. That's not the case. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. I mean, hadn't we basically already covered that, though? But how could you? You monster! Miss Sky, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Huh, well, I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposefully conceal this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. Wasn't relevant. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Yeah, you tell us that. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
Take that!
What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, that piece of cloth. Clean of blood. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No! This is nonsense! Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. So we're saying it was cut from his vest. They just did a really dumb thing about making one square and one very curved. Okay. Anyways. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lena Skye? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Wow, so he caused a murder to happen just so they could get the guy? And use her or something? Wait, this guy's messed up. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lena believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! I got a screenshot. Hat. It's finally all over. Oh boy. Objection! Oh, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. And he's still sweating bullets, though. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. Prince did refuse to present evidence. That moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair! Ho 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 ho! Did you actually think you could test me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, sir. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, true, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright, are we gonna use the evidence book? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not illegally. I admit I refused to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal!
Objection!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. They also, like, pass over the whole... Like, we get evidence that I'm not so sure we ever show to the police to get A-okayed all the time. But anyways, we'll roll with it. No, Edgy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident, even though that's not technically what we're here to... What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. And you yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes! No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. Oof. Wow, he's I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insists on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Yeah, he may have. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. The evidence is transferred. I'll lose my only... Or sorry, I'm not doing the proper accent. Hang on. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Yeah, that was better. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. Excuse me. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Grrr. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. Yeah. Should have never done that. They all did their best to get in my way. I gotta hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy. Why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. Says the guy who literally committed crimes. Multiple. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sound of a new beginning. He's like, hey, look, see, this is gonna be a series. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. I mean, you got her out of the stuff she didn't deserve to be convicted for. But she still has to deal with what she did. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is, you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lena Sky, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, did you get a hug? No? Oh. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over the past few days. You've done well. Huh? She didn't mention you? You know, I did my best too. But Lena didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. This guy. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. You're not working anymore, dude. And to top it off, you call me here I've seen happier people at funerals. He's learning. He needs to get a new line. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Now they get their reunion. Lena! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you would look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. And hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma! That is a cat at my feet. Hi, bud. Meow. Aww. Oh, I didn't get the screenshot, I don't think, before the text popped up. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Phoenix imparting some wise words. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. He's scowling. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. He is such a tsundere. He really is. Good old Edgy the tsundere. Okay, not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. In order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Join our team! Join our team! Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. Yes, bud. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. I'll have to read from this other screen because someone's blocking it with his tail. You weren't alone. Now he moves. Sorry, I almost inhaled that. You missed a whole heap, Intricity. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lane is talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. That one, yeah.
Take that!
That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore it in this picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth! If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks, too, right? Oh, look at that. Oh, wow, Zerf. Wow. What I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Phooey. Still not gonna convince him, okay. Farewell. I mean, he does make a pretty good prosecutor. And it'd be really hard for him to defend criminals when he's, when he hates them so much, but still. What could hope? I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Try to use most fucking faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. I guess so much for self-discovery. He has to go back to work so that he can make money. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Objection!
Oh, man. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. I don't know how that works, but sounds good. Go for it. Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation at the chief's office. If we penalized you any more, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. So we didn't get a partner. He doesn't make as much either, lol. Four artists that they've shown now? Yeah, 4 artists. Yes, bud. Me. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make detective. Yes, sir! Then I can be just like that. Like Gumshoe, yeah. He's looking up to Gumshoe. Oh, boy. Yes, kitty cat. Keeps meowing. I guess I can set this down and pet him. Come here. Come here, city kitty. Come here. Oh, look. It's the the blue badger. I keep wanting to just call him Badger. Can we wave like the blue badger? Oh no, he collapsed. I know. Yoru, you missed it. You missed it, bud. Let's see how long he puts up with this. Let's see, boy. What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a state lunch partner or something like that? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of them guards. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. And you make sure Billy and the gang get their water. Oh, there's a claw in my arm, bud. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The Right Way lunch, I think is it. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Look at that. The judge. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
Hi, kitty.
You just really wanted some attention, huh? You're putting up with me pretty well. Oh, I'm burning up.
Hey, it's Maya. Ah, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium.
Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin.
Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. Oh, man. You're toasty, bud.
Just kidding.
Kobayashi. Pintado.
Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth? I brought you your tea. What's going on? Oh, bud, can I put you down? My arms are getting tired. Oh man, I may have to extend snooze or thingy again. Oh no!
Thanks for coming to see me. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be all right. Whenever I want to see Lena, all I have to do is open this book.
Hopefully she left you a better picture inside this time.
Oh, I need my hands, bud. All right, I'm putting you down.
Oh, my arms.
You a heavy, bud. Oy.
Okay, good. She left a way better picture this time.
Yes, bud.
Ah! Did I hit it? Oh no! Did it do it? I don't think it's screenshotted. Why didn't it?
No, I missed it. Rise from the ashes cleared. That is one Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game down.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm glad you spelled it with a P-H-A-T. That is the correct spelling, yep. Oh, man. All right. Well, that took me a little longer than I was anticipating. I was anticipating closer to 3 hours, and that was just over 4, including our breaks. So, yeah, that took a little longer than I anticipated. You can start the next one. Not like now. I'm not starting it now. We'll start it later. I gotta give my voice a break. And apparently some kitty wants attention. So. Kitty? Behave yourself, sir. Alright, we also, I've been snoozing an ad for like the past 10 minutes, so. He's been. So, I want to get y'all out of here before... You're on the keyboard, dude. Excuse you. This cat.
Just give them all a nice kitty look, huh? No?
Okay. Let's find you guys somebody to go raid.